The guy conducting this interview, I don't think he sees his own hypocrisy.
In no question I ask, am I trying to trap you into anything?
He claims he's not trying to win or trap Andrew Schultz.
It's all coming from a place of curiosity and trying to understand.
That's where the hypocrisy comes in. I think that's why Schultz reacts in this way and just smiles here. He's like, seriously?
Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense. I don't know if I believe that you believe it.
I do.
But I think it makes sense. I think you would like to believe that of yourself.
And I understand that you want it to be that way, but I don't think it's true.
But I do think that you have like a line of thinking that you're getting towards, and you're using questioning to get me to that.
They titled the video themselves, Andrew Schultz was quick to see hypocrisy in this interview. They're admitting it.
Why do you think that there is some idea of masculinity that progressives or the left has not been able to talk to?
Why do you think?
He turns it back on him, but this guy's response is,
Andrew, it's very hard for me to come up with answers to questions like that.
you're the one who came up with the question. Why would you ask a question like that then? And you see the Andrew's response, he kind of chuckles at that. I think he sees that irony.
You're talking so intelligently about sort of the democratic challenge right now.
As though he's surprised he's talking intelligently now, given that on trigonometry you said this.
But I was watching your appearance on the trigonometry podcast, and you know the quote I'm going to bring up.
This is the most interesting part of this whole conversation.
This is so disingenuous, but go on. This is so like...
It's just the perfect enactment of a pattern we see so often.
You'll tell me why it's disingenuous, but for people who do,
it's like this is the exact example of the Rorschach test. But go on.
Yeah.
It's like,
and credit to Schultz for calling this out. Like that's what you have to do. You have to contend with these things when they come up.
You were talking about how you were a Democrat and they sort of lost you.
No, I'll give it to you if you want.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Okay, so the conversation, the context of the conversation was about like, did people change or have parties changed?
Let's see if we can find the actual clip.
When I was younger, like Democrats were cool, right? They were like they were like supportive of like hip hop music. They said do whatever you want. Like we don't want to be in your bedroom. They were cool with gay people. Like it was cool to be a Democrat. Now conservatives got 3 baby mamas. The president got 3 baby mamas. He's getting pussy left and right. Right? He's cool. He's the one saying, say whatever the you want. So now conservatives have become Democrats.
Apparently this went viral.
So I don't think I've changed. I just like the dudes that get pussy and say whatever they want. So it's you want me to be a Democrat again? Get some pussy. Tell me to say whatever I want. Do you think that's the point I was actually trying to demonstrate? That all Democrats need to do is get laid and then, yeah, we'll vote for them. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
but the point was a point was that if Democrats exhibited a certain more comfort with like a kind of libertinism.
If the liberals embraced liberality, they would be more successful? Probably. Like Stephen Fry said, it's the strange paradox that the liberals are illiberal in their demand for liberality.
They are exclusive in their demand for inclusivity. They are homogeneous in their demand for heterogeneity. They are somehow undiverse in their call for diversity. You can be diverse but not diverse in your opinions and in your language and in your behavior.
Then we lose the ability to have rational conversation. That's when conflict just escalates.
This idea of sort of like a shift rightward for conservative young men, and somehow like the manosphere is driving that. Because
I wouldn't agree shift rightward.
So, and then we enter the manosphere. Oh my gosh, this word.
So when I was younger, Democrats were cool as hell. And the perspective when you're just a kid, you're not out there, you're like, oh yeah, Republicans are just like some Southern racists. That's kind of what you thought.
He's describing it perfectly, how it felt when I was growing up. I think we're pretty similar in age, but that's exactly how it looked when I was a kid.
And then Republicans at the time were like, don't say bad words. Hip hop is bad. Rock and roll music is dangerous. They're like finger wagging, right? They're telling you what to do. And they're the ones that are like kind of inhibiting free speech. And Democrats were, perception-wise, pushing it forward and protecting the free speech.
Because at the end of the day, it comes down to if you're the one stifling conversation, that is going to backfire.
And then I just create this juxtaposition. I go, now Trump's got 3 baby mamas, and I go, and the Democrats are saying what words we can't say. You can't say, retard, or you can't say this. Like, you're policing speech, and the Republicans are like, yo, say whatever you want. You got to do it. And I'm like, wow, look at this shift in terms of the parties. Did the people move at all, or have the parties moved?
Yeah.
These things, I'm not going to agree with everything that one side does. I'm not completely on one side. If you can't have a rational conversation, it doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you're on, you're going to lose.
There's even just sort of like an implicit style of conversation that I feel like I'm supposed to have that is actually like inhibiting a little bit.
The frequency at which that occurs happens to skew, I think, more on one side, where rational conversation is shot down more frequently.
We asked all these Democrats to come on to the podcast. None of them came on. And they said, we're sexist, bigoted, and racist.
Who is they in this example?
That's a good question. I should give you like an exact answer. But I think that there was like...
Yeah, I just wonder if this is a straw man that you've...
Yeah, that
after the fact concocted.
Or maybe the question I would ask is, do you think that was an unfair representation?
Of you guys?
There are certain media figures labeling the manosphere and the podcast bros that way?
And I think that's right. Yeah.
So you have heard that?
Yes.
So who would they be for you?
The media.
Well, that's what I just said.
No, you said they. Yeah. I said something specific.
You think that yours is more specific?
Yeah. Yeah. Journalists, commentators.
I fear if I said the media, you would have been who specifically? You would have said the same thing. I feel like your answer is just as vague.
If you were someone who did feel like Andrew here, and I have to make this, I'm faced with this binary decision.
I'm a Democrat my whole life, registered Democrat.
So you voted for Trump,
I voted for Trump, yeah. But I, to be honest, my vote was more like I voted against a Democratic institution that I did feel like was like stripping the democratic process from its constituents.
The problem is now they're equating that with you are against women's rights. And then this other checklist, as though you agree automatically with that checklist.
I didn't like the way things were going. I thought people were hurting. They didn't like the way things were going. And Kamala was literally just going, yeah, we're going to keep doing that.
So does that make you evil if you were to approach that binary decision like that? Can you really not understand this reasoning?
You can't be surprised if you go, yeah, I thought Joe did a great job and we're going to keep on doing that, if people are upset and they decide to vote in a different direction.
Yeah.
And yet people are not only surprised, they view you as the enemy.
I think that like the first reaction is, okay, we didn't do anything wrong. It was just podcast bros. That's what switched the election. And now I think they're starting to realize, oh, wow, maybe there's some policy things that people were unhappy with.
I genuinely am just not sure why there are so many people that even when they know you personally, why can't you just say, no, I can understand why you think like I don't agree, but it doesn't make you evil.
Say the thing that you're feeling in the moment, or if you ask the question you're curious about.
The only solution is rational discussion and to contend with it.
It doesn't mean it's right. My authentic feeling isn't necessarily like the right thing in a moment, but it is true.
Don't just sweep it under the rug and allow it to be unspoken.
And I can live with criticism for the thing that I believe in and the thing that I feel like is true to me. Being criticized for the thing that is fraudulent to you is like a double whammy. It's the worst.
But if you're going to write off every person that when faced with that binary, we're like, I'm going to go with the non-comatose. There's so many people that are willing to write people off over this. And I think Schultz articulates this well.